Come on in, you guys. We're about ready to start a brand new episode of my show. It's called Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website, and we start the fun over on Instagram. So go follow me there at Livin' Low Carb Man, LIVINLOWCARBMAN. Once you are there, you can join in on the fun. We do go live at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, Saturday and Sunday. Sometimes I'll throw in a bonus episode at 5 p.m. Eastern during the week, but that's generally the schedule. We also simulcast on both of my Facebook pages, so thank you guys for being here as well. If you missed any of the past episodes, pop on over to JimmyRants.com. You'll see all of them there. And we also put them all up on YouTube. Type in a keyword, Jimmy Rants. Hello to all my YouTubers. Thank you for your faithfulness in watching as well and all the great comments at YouTube. So type in keyword, Jimmy Rants. You'll find the show there. All right, guys, so it is Friday, and on Fridays, I am now making it the tradition that I'm going to make it an Ask Me Anything. So literally people, sometimes I'll be doing a Jimmy Rants about a specific topic, and then I'll start reading comments from you guys, and along comes a question out of left field that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. So Friday is your chance. So if you've been having questions literally about anything, keto, cholesterol, fasting, doing podcasting, writing books, being a celebrity online, what's your favorite color, anything you want to ask me, it's like totally, this is like your time to shine. So I even challenge you, just ask me anything you've always wanted to know, and I will go to Instagram Live first and then pop over here to Facebook Live to get you guys to ask your questions. So while you're thinking of questions, please write them down there right now. Go ahead and start writing questions for me. I'll be delighted to get to those in a minute. I had a few things I wanted to talk about. One is this whole concept of the COVID-19 changing how we interact with each other. Have you heard about this from this Dr. Fauci? Dr. Anthony Fauci, he's the White House Coronavirus Task Force team member. He said in a podcast yesterday, and this is not a joke, when I heard him say this, I went, really? Try enforcing that when all this is over. He said, and this is no joke, you guys, no Americans will be able to shake hands ever again. It's right there in the headline. Is he nuts? Like, are we that neurotic about this particular coronavirus that we think we can never touch each other again in the form of a handshake? But even take it extended, what about hugging? I've gone to many keto conferences. People tell me the thing they love most about meeting me is I give them a big bear hug, and I do. I love hugging, and I won't stop hugging. What about a really good friend that you give a kiss on the cheek? What about all the little things of affection? Are they expecting us to have like a little yardstick on our bodies that keeps people 6 feet away to socially distance? Am I the only one that's kind of disturbed about this whole concept of remaining socially distanced even when all this is over? I mean, I get it. People are getting sick and there's people that are dying, and I don't want to minimize any of those things, but really no more handshaking ever? Like, are we going to be ticketed for shaking hands or high-fiving or even fist-bumping people? Like, are we really getting to that point? And here's the funny part about it for me, too. This is not the first time we've ever had a virus outbreak. This is not the first time a virus has become something that makes people sick. The common flu makes people sick every year. So why have we not taken the draconian measure of never touching each other and never shaking hands and never hugging and never that with those things? What makes this one so special that's different? Now I get it. There's people that are out there getting it and they have really bad reaction to it. I get it. In fact, I want to send a shout out to Jolene Brighton right now. She's one of the leaders in the alternative health movement. She has COVID-19 right now and she's at home. She's supposed to get an oxygen tank at home. She is a doctor, and so she's supposed to get an oxygen tank today to help her, but she's losing O2 saturation levels. And she's one of the healthiest people out there teaching this to everybody. So I'm not trying to minimize that people shouldn't do the right things. Wash your hands, if you can, wear a mask, do all the things they're telling us to do. But let's not act like we'll never be able to shake hands again, never be able to hug again, never be able to show any kind of affection to other people ever again. Really? Like, does that come across as odd to you? Now, the argument will be made, well, people are dying from this and the death rate is going to go up possibly. Right now, currently, the death rate with COVID-19 is right around 2, maybe 3% of the people. But a lot of that, too, is a lot of testing has not been done. And the more tests we have done, the more you find out people have it, but they're not symptomatic, or they have it and they recover from it. So that will bring the death rate down even more. The common flu is about 3% death rate. Now, I get it. I'm not trying to compare the common flu to COVID-19. Don't misunderstand me. But what I want to tell you about next, and I am coming to your questions. If you joined us late, we are going to ask anything. So please ask your questions on Instagram Live and Facebook Live here. Unfortunately, I do see you there on my Live and La Vida Low Carb Facebook page, but I can't see any comments. So can't really come to you if you have questions, but definitely here and here, we will come to you here in a minute. But did you hear there is a new ICD code specifically for COVID-19 and people that die from it? Okay, so those of you that don't know, ICD is the little code that a doctor puts into the patient file, and generally it's used to diagnose patients with certain things. And that way insurance recoups it. So sometimes on a non-viral thing, they don't know what it is, but it has symptoms of something like fibromyalgia. So they got an ICD code for fibromyalgia. So a lot of people are diagnosed with fibromyalgia. They ain't got fibromyalgia, but because they don't know what it is and they can't figure out what it is, but they know they have an ICD code for it, they put fibromyalgia as the ICD code. Okay? So this new alert is from the Division of Vital Statistics, and they're the ones that kind of overlook all of these ICD codes for medical professionals. They have introduced a brand new COVID-19 death ICD. They are trying to accurately capture mortality data for coronavirus disease 2019, COVID-19, on death certificates. Listen to this, guys. When I read this, I went, they're doing what? So the ICD code, they've got it, it's U07.1, COVID-19. And so it's implemented immediately. And what they want to see is the underlying cause of death. Now, a lot of these deaths that are being reported are being told death by COVID-19. What they're not telling people is a lot of these people, most of the patients who are dying, have what's called comorbidities, meaning they have other things going on in their health beyond COVID-19. COVID-19 just sped up the process of what they were already diseased with, okay? So, what happens if it's undetermined whether someone has COVID-19? They are saying that they need to go ahead and write down probable COVID-19 or likely COVID-19 and use the ICD code. So when you hear the death rates from COVID-19 now, I want you to know that some of these were never tested for COVID-19, okay? And they weren't tested for it, and yet they will show up in the statistics of deaths by COVID-19. Now, are they doing that to be deceptive? I don't know. I don't know what their motivation is. But to me, if it's likely or probable, that doesn't say they had it. Like when we hear the reporting of COVID-19 deaths, we want to know, okay, is that somebody that actually died from it? So if they have pneumonia, they have some of the symptoms of it, they want you to assume that the person's death was caused by the virus. Does that disturb anybody but Jimmy Moore? Because I'm not liking, it seems to me it's a convenient way to pad the statistics of deaths. And for what purpose? To scare people, maybe, into thinking this is a bigger killer than it really is? Don't get me wrong, people are dying. Don't get me wrong, people are getting this and having symptoms. It's very real. I'm taking it very seriously. But why do you have to manipulate an ICD code for probable or likely COVID-19 and act as if it is. I'm a likely someday radio professional, but I'm not one. But are we going to go ahead and call me a radio professional? No. I know that's a bad analogy, but I think you get the picture. Likely and probable does not say is. And yet, that's what they're telling doctors. Pretend like it is. All right, I got one more thing to share with you. This is one of those little copy and paste type of things. I thought it was really good. And they're talking about what if the kids are falling behind in their school, but what we actually see is they're advancing because of what we're going through right now. What if they have more empathy because they now enjoy more family connection? They are now more creative and learned how to entertain themselves. They learned how to love to read. They express themselves in writing. What if the simple things like going in your backyard and sitting near a window in the quiet becomes a thing? What if they notice birds and flowers emerge and the calming renewal of a gentle rain? What if this generation of kids right now going through this experience with COVID-19, what if they're the ones who learn how to cook at home, organize their space, do their laundry, and keep a well-run home? What if they learned how to stretch a dollar and live with less money? What if they learned to plan shopping trips and meals at home? What if they learned the value of eating together as a family and finding the good to share in all the small delights of every day? And what if they are the ones that place a great value on their teachers, librarians, public servants, and other people who have always been invisible, who are essential support workers, people like truck drivers, grocery store cashiers, custodians, logistics, and healthcare workers, and all the supporting staff, just to name a few of the millions who are taking care of us right now. Guys, that was beautiful. When I was reading that, I was like, oh, I have to share this on Jimmy Rant somewhere. But I have a feeling that even though this has been a crisis situation and it's made us all uncomfortable and taken us out of our norm, when things are out of kilter, we can see beautiful things come from it. And I cannot wait to see these kids 10, 15, 20 years from now that are going through this. And they look back on this time in their life and they go, that was the moment I knew X. That was the moment I dreamt I could be X. And then they became it. And then they did great things. Then they learned to appreciate things in life. That's my hope. I hope it's your hope as well. All right, let's see what you guys have to say. This is an Ask Me Anything. Literally ask whatever is on your mind. You guys know who I am. You know what I know about. And maybe you've always wanted to know something about me. So this is your opportunity to ask those questions. So I will go to Instagram Live here first. Then I'll come over to Facebook Live to get your questions, you guys. And again, thank you, Living La Vida Low Carb Facebook page, for being here. I can't see your questions, but I do look at your comments there. Be sure to share on the Facebook pages, you guys. Thank you guys for being here today. All right, welcome in, welcome in. JimmyRants.com is the website. Certainly want to see what questions you have on your mind. All right, Amy has the first one. I can't wait to see if having higher cholesterol levels help people heal from coronavirus. I think we're going to learn so many details about the people who recovered from coronavirus, COVID-19, that are going to shock the mainstream medical establishment, because they've always told us high cholesterol is the grand enemy in our heart health primarily, but even our overall health, that we should cut back on our saturated fat so that our cholesterol levels won't be as high, on and on and on. You know all the excuses, and that we need to be on some medication to artificially lower our cholesterol levels, assuming that cholesterol did nothing good. Wouldn't it be interesting if they do a correlation study of the data of these patients and they discover the ones that survived were the ones that had the highest levels of cholesterol in their body, and the ones that died were the ones that had the lowest? But we already know low cholesterol is not good. Like I have been preaching this for many years. I wrote a book about cholesterol in 2013 is when it came out, Cholesterol Clarity. And in the book, I told many a story where people in their 50s will have their first heart attack and they'll have super low cholesterol levels. and they die from the heart attack. And people, oh my gosh, how do you die at 54 years old from your first heart attack? Well, you die because the very substance in your body that could have dealt with the heart disease that was ravaging inside, cholesterol, would have helped. Higher cholesterol is what somebody needs at that point, not lower. And so if you lower the cholesterol and then you leave that inflammation going in the coronary arteries, for example, why are we surprised when someone dies from that? That's inflammation. And I don't know if you know it's a theme song or not, but without inflammation, you guys, without any inflammation at all, you can't have disease. Like, disease is literally inflammation of the body. And so cholesterol is one of the biggest anti-inflammatory substances in your body. And yet everybody wants to lower it. Oh, I've got nice low cholesterol. People brag to me all the time in emails. Oh, I have a great healthy cholesterol. It's 140. I'm like, yeah, let's talk about that. So I have a very high cholesterol. Mine's probably around 310. And I'm extremely happy I have high cholesterol because I know that when something hits, maybe COVID-19, that I'll have a fighting chance. Because I've even done a Jimmy Rants where they saw cholesterol levels dip greatly in the early stages of having coronavirus. Within 6 days, your cholesterol drops 100, 150 points. Well, what if all you have is 150 cholesterol? You're going to die. See where I'm going here? So, yeah, I hope so, Amy, that they look at the analysis of all the data. They also look at blood sugar and insulin levels. What did that do? There's so many things that are going to be turned on their head of what we believed about health that this COVID-19 crisis is going to expose for all the world to see. Living your authentic life, what's the best way to get all your nutrients when doing carnivore? And would you rather die than eat liver or organ meats? Well, I don't know about rather die. I will definitely live. So thank you for that. No, I don't want to die rather than eat liver or organ meats. You got to eat nose to tail. That's the simple answer. Eat nose to tail, and literally every nutrient that your body would need would be in that animal. You know, people don't think about vitamins and nutrients in animal foods because we've been told all meat is a blob of protein with fat in it. And I got to tell you, there is so much more in meat. I don't know how we get the general public to see meat, especially red meat, as something more than just a blob of protein with fat. It's definitely a challenge because that is what they believe. And a lot of that is the vegan propaganda that's out there that kind of just basically says, yeah, it's just a blob of fatty protein and that's it. But there's so many vitamins and nutrients and minerals in there, you'd be crazy not to be eating it. All right, let's go over to my questions that people have submitted. I asked about this. All right, here's one from Coastal Mom. Any personal goals for this year? Not diet related, but anything you want to accomplish. Well, COVID-19 kind of messed up some of those things. One of my personal goals was to put childhood trauma on the map of talking about it in a very big way when it comes to its relationship to your health and why people still struggle with weight despite doing all the right things. Why people have challenges in their health despite doing all the right things in their diet. So that was supposed to be what I was going to talk about here in 2020, but that's kind of been put to the side because of this. At this point, if I'm being honest, post-COVID-19 crisis happening, my personal goal is just get through the year. Like I feel like we're all in kind of this numbed state of not knowing what's going to happen next. And it's not good for our psyche to be going there. And it's unfortunate because I don't want to go there in my head, but I can't help but think about, I just want to get through this year. Anybody else feel that way? Do you feel like this has kind of messed up everything about maybe what you had planned? Yeah, for me, it's really messed up everything I had planned. And here's the other thing, and I'm just going to be blunt reality with you guys. When I went away in September, I did a 6-month sabbatical, for those of you new, from September until the end of February, came back March 1st. That was already going to be a stretch for me financially to do, but I thought I could do it. When I got back March 1st, I was planning on ramping up things to start making money again. And then COVID-19 hits, and all of these companies that I usually work with to make money, every single one of them is hanging on to their money. So for me, it's a very real thing. What's happened with this COVID-19, it's wiped me out financially, and I'm down really low in money, just like a lot of you guys are. I'm not trying to say woe is me, but I think that's the reality. And so I think we're all in let's just get through 2020 mode. And if I'm being honest, that is my goal right now. Just get me through this year. And when we come out the other end of it, hopefully we're all in a better place and things, come back on the uptick. But right now it seems very bleak, and it's just real honest. Right now it's extremely difficult on so many people. Kat says the joke is the sickest people are germaphobes. Yeah, what's funny, we've also been taught, and one of my favorite TV shows has been Big Bang Theory, and Sheldon Cooper on there is a germaphobe. If he touches somebody, he's got to Purell his hands, and he just doesn't want to touch people. And so now those are the people that have the lowest immune system. People don't realize when you're dirty, that those microbes on your hands and on your body and everything, that you have microbiome on your skin that protects you from viral infections. So if you're sitting there killing them with antiviral and antimicrobial type of soaps and things all over you, again, do it right now. We have good reason for it. But in the general day-to-day, people just don't think about, go play in the dirt. Get your kids even right now. Go outside, rub their hands all in the dirt and all over themselves. That's probably one of the healthiest things that can boost your immune system right now. But you're right, those germaphobes are the very ones that are being most susceptible to this right now. Ilza said, and she lives in South Africa, last night our president added another 2 weeks to the lockdown, 3 more weeks to go. Hopefully we'll get back to normal one day, be clean, but come on, we are social by nature. The social aspect of this, I don't think it can be overstated. There are people like me and a lot of people that are outwardly needing that social experience with other people. What is the damage being done psychologically, emotionally? Like there's a part of our humanity that requires other human beings. This is why when you hear people talk about being put in solitary confinement in a prison, that they go batty and some of them kill themselves. They can't stand the idea of not being around other people. So it does play a role. You're right. It's going to be hard, so hard, if this continues on indefinitely. Karen says, I'll definitely be hugging everybody I can when this is over. Karen, I'm right there with you. Like I've joked about doing like a hugging tour, like going to all the people that are my really good friends and family and go to them and just hug for minutes on end. Because you miss that. You don't realize how much you miss it until you don't got it. And again, one of the lessons of this could be learning to appreciate all those little things that you always took for granted, like a hug, like a kiss on the cheek, like a handshake, like everything that would be physical affection towards another human being. Kat says, exposure to our natural environment, proper nutrition and lifestyle, what makes optimum immune system. Exactly. Thank you, Kat. Berkeley says they're starting to call every death COVID. Well, not every death, but it is interesting that the average number of deaths that there usually are in a day is about 6,000 to 7,000 a day here in America. How many of those 6,000 to 7,000 that would have died anyway are now being labeled COVID-19 deaths? I don't know, Berkeley, is the answer, but it is disturbing. It seems they're trying to pad that death rate for some reason or another. Amy says we won't know for a year at least what the true numbers are, and even then, probably not even then. R.T. Varnell, X amount of people die every day, all are now COVID. Yeah, that's what we were just talking about, that, how are they parsing out people that would have died of natural causes or of just the regular flu or just whatever, but not COVID, especially if they're not testing for COVID, but now it has probable or likely COVID. How do you probable or likely without doing the test? Cariana says they do this kind of statistical sleight of hand with all sorts of things. Their motivation is situational, I think. Well, whatever the situation is, it's not good. The keto artist, extremely disturbing to me, considering it will only skew the COVID deaths. It also is going to skew all the statistics on all the other deaths. I was thinking about that the other day, the keto artist. Thank you for that. I was thinking, will we see a drop in the number of deaths from diabetes, heart disease, and other chronic diseases when these statistics of COVID-19 are replacing those? So the ICD code that would normally say death by diabetes, death by heart disease, will they now say death by COVID-19, and we'll see a precipitous drop in all those rates? That will be interesting to watch. To fix MJ, the death rate will look worse than it is because of the shortage of tests. In Louisiana, you can only get tested if you're at least 60. The shortage of tests will skew the stats. And that's why this new ICD code is horrible, because it's going to skew that data and make people think, oh my gosh, all these people died from COVID-19 when all they have is symptoms, probable, likely COVID-19, but they don't know. They haven't tested. L says, I feel blessed to be living in Australia right now. Our government's taking good care of us and managing the fear. Well, that's good. I'm really happy to hear that. And by the way, Australia, if I was not living in America, that's where I would be living. I would love to be on Tassie right now. Like, if you guys have never been to Australia, the island off the coast of, and it's still a part of Australia, is Tasmania. Oh my gosh, one of the most beautiful places in the whole world. I remember the first time I got to go speak there. I spoke on stage with Gary Fettke, the big guy in that area that's about keto. And they had 600 people in the audience in this little bitty town. And yeah, I have fond memories of Australia. Beth says, so tired of hearing about the C word right now. I'm overwhelmed by being underwhelmed. My compassion curve is on the downslope. Yeah, you're not alone. You're not alone. Nancy says that death coding thing is also related to insurance billing. Yeah, and I get that. And I have talked about that insurance companies want a reason why they're paying claims. And so they put an ICD code in. A lot of times those ICD codes is, we don't know what this is, so we're just going to call it fibromyalgia. So now we don't know what it is. It looks like it could be, based on the symptoms, COVID-19, so COVID-19. And so they'll put it in there. Keto Teacher Mom, what's on your Easter menu? Great question. Well, since it's just me, Keto Teacher Mom, I don't really have a whole lot of need to change what I would normally eat. And honestly, I don't want to do anything special. Since I've never had kids or anything like that, like I've never done the Easter egg baskets and having a family dinner. And of course, right now we can't really go see people. I will probably just eat what I always eat. Just have the food that I have. Currently, since I'm running out of money, I've been living off my backyard chicken eggs, cooked in some Kerrygold butter. That's pretty much what I've been subsiding on now for several days. I'm very grateful for those birds back there. Maybe I should slaughter one of the chickens and have that as my Easter meal. But she just went, no. Shirley says, my kids have benefited greatly from this. They now have one-on-one help with school. They get to go outside and play for hours, soaking up vitamin D. Yeah, bright side of all this. And I'm really appreciative that people are starting to think in that way. What is your background, meaning what got you into health and nutrition? You know so much. Thank you, Elle. I used to weigh 410 pounds. I know you're in Australia, so what's that, about 200 kilo? 180, 190. I'm bad at translating pounds into kilos, but I think you get the picture. I was a big boy, and I was a ticking time bomb. My brother Kevin had a series of heart attacks that almost killed him at the age of 32, and then he did die at 41. So 32 years old for me, I decided to go on the Atkins diet, and that was 2004. Went on the Atkins diet. I ended up losing 180 pounds. I came off of 3 prescription medications, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, respiratory issues, and I saved my life. And I started blogging about it about a year later. A year after that, I started podcasting about it, and that's what people know me best as. And I'm basically a self-educated, self-made person. I don't have any kind of degrees in nutrition, but I know all the movers and shakers because I know how to talk. And so I've interviewed literally thousands of the top experts from around the world all about low carb, ketogenic, paleo, real food, primal, everything. Literally, if there's a topic in the world of health that I have not covered yet, it's rare because I've hit most of the topics. So I feel like with all the interviews and all the everything I've had over the years, exposure to these experts, I've got like 10 honorary PhDs. I really feel like I have a good knowledge base. And my forte is not just having the knowledge, but knowing how to translate it into everyday language. So that's why I became successful as an author, I believe, is people needed to hear what the science said, but in a translatable way that it made it understandable. People have told me that about Keto Clarity, which is probably my most well-known book, that they read that and they're like, okay, finally I get what keto means. And then they could go read the more advanced stuff and understand it. But just trying to read the advanced stuff first, it was hard until I translated it. Carnitarian says, hooray for high cholesterol. I also hope the conversation shifts about lowering artificially. Yeah, I don't know about that. I have high hopes when all this is over that we're going to see some shifts in thinking that way, because maybe this is the first time anybody's ever thought about their health in this way, that, oh my gosh, like everything I'm eating, everything I'm doing actually matters in my health. Who knew? And it matters bigger than any of us want to admit. Tanya says, don't you think Big Pharma will silence any findings? Maybe. But I'm hoping there's reputable scientists who say, look, we had a major amount of people get this, a major amount of people die from this. I think we need to let go of any ties to any financial interest. I'm hoping there's ethical scientists and researchers out there right now going, oh my gosh, we've sold our soul to the pharmaceutical companies, all at the altar of now people's health being at risk and compromised. I'm hoping this changes those people's hearts too. Smart Way Keto, do you have COVID-19? Sorry, I haven't been keeping up. No, I do not. Number one, I've not been tested for it. I did a couple weeks ago have some symptoms where, in fact, it was last week. I had Monday about 4:30 in the afternoon. I was planning on doing a Jimmy Rants at 5. I got suddenly tired and had to go lay down. Tuesday, same thing, except it was 4 p.m. It was Wednesday last week when all you know what broke loose. And I woke up in the morning, and about an hour and a half later, I was so tired. I had to go lay down. And it was right before I did Jimmy Rants. So I laid down all the way to about 10:45. Came and did my Jimmy Rants. It was only a half hour long, which you guys know I go 45 minutes to an hour on this. It was half an hour long. And as soon as it was over, I had some food, was talking to a friend, and it hit me again. I laid down at that point, slept for 2.5 hours, got up, had a little more food. And as soon as I got done eating the food, tired again. And so everybody, oh my gosh, you have COVID-19. I don't think that's what it was. I think the stress of all this just finally caught up to me. But I don't know is the answer. And then since then, I've been completely fine. Woke up Thursday. I told my mom about it on Thursday last week, and she checked up on me like literally every day. Are you okay today? You're not having to go to the hospital? Can you breathe okay? And she just freaked out about me. She's a good mom, so. All right, let's go back to the questions people had asked. This is a funny one. LuminousRed.light says, what motivates you to work hard? I have always been a self-starter. Like people say, you know, I can't get motivated. I don't have any oomph within me to make me drive. I think when you're driven by passion, you can't help but work hard towards accomplishing whatever you put your mind to. Now, I do have a theory as to why I specifically work hard, and I've backed away from working as hard as I used to. I think because of some of the childhood trauma that I went through, some of the negative things that were said to me about who and what I was. I had an 8th grade teacher who told me I would never amount to anything when it came to English, which is so ironic because I now have 3 international best-selling books. I speak for a living, so negative comments to you at a young age can make you very impressionable to go one way or the other. You can either let it motivate you to work hard, or you can let it make you kowtow in fear. And one thing you guys know about me well, I don't cower in fear. Not one bit. I'm not afraid to take on a challenge at all. And part of that is I've been through some stuff in my life, through childhood trauma and abuse. It makes you a little less tolerant of BS, and I'm highly intolerant of BS. So I work hard because, number one, I enjoy what I do. I wake up in the morning and go, okay, here's what we got planned. Let's do it. And I get out there, and I always have a focus of encouraging, educating, and inspiring people, and trying to be positive and trying to be uplifting and all the things that you guys know me for. And I try to be the best that I can be. So my motivation comes from within. Now, maybe the original intention of the motivation to prove people wrong, maybe that's what originally motivated me, but now it's I want to prove myself worthy of what I do and what my purpose is. Because once you find purpose in life, don't you ever let it go. Like once you find purpose, that's literally what we're all striving for here. We're trying to find what is our purpose in this world. And I've found mine. And that's what motivates me so strongly. Amy says, it's hard working from home and staying on track with eating and working out. Any advice? Well, as someone who always works from home anyway, Amy, I know the challenge because it's so easy to just let your mind wander, to slip into old habits. I would say, Amy, get into a routine. So if your eating is out of track, write it down. Maybe you've not ever done that before, but write down, you know what, at 11 a.m. I'm going to have this, this, and this. And at 5 p.m. I'm going to have this, this, and I think if you kind of track it for a bit, it will keep you from being tempted to just boredom eat or whatever else is going on. As far as working out, again, set a time that you do it. And body weight exercises are incredible. And there's so many people here on Instagram, especially, who are showing you at-home workout tips. There's plenty of inspiration in that way. So hope that helps you out. All right, let's go back to the questions here. I'm going to come to you guys soon, so hang tight. I like this one. Why did you take a sabbatical last year? I've heard mixed answers. Glad you're back, though. So I don't know what you've heard, but my purpose in the sabbatical was, by the time I went away in September, I'd been doing my work for 15 years in a row. 15 years where I didn't really stop. Like I would take a break here and there, but for the most part, I went and never stopped. So I got a little burnout. It was back to that working hard thing again. And so I needed a break. And plus I've been the attention of a lot of negative people online, and even the strongest, most happiest, most positive people in the world, they are fooling you if they tell you that the haters and the hate messages don't start to wear on your psyche. And I think I had gotten through a series of things. It wasn't just the messages themselves, but things happening in my life. I think I was starting to realize the childhood trauma things. And so when all that kind of converged all at the same time, I knew I had to go away 6 months or I was going to crash. And it was the best thing I could have done from a psychological, emotional standpoint. In hindsight, if I'd known this COVID-19 thing was coming, I probably would not have done it, honestly, because financially this has hit me hard. And I would have needed the money that I lived on for those 6 months and made no money. But that was the reason, was I needed to get away. And then when I did get away, the childhood trauma came to a head and some other things personal in my life happened. So I'm really, really glad it happened. But it definitely did not go the way that I had originally planned it would go. I had no intention of some of the things happening that did happen. in the midst of that sabbatical. All right, so thank you, Instagram Live. I'm going to go over to Facebook Live next, see what you guys have to say. So let's see what you guys have to say. Thank you, Living La Vida Low Carb Facebook page. I see you there. Just don't see your comments. I definitely will look at those when we're done here today. All right, come on in, you guys. I'll prop you up a little bit so I can see your comments better. Let's see what you got here. Any questions for me? Berkeley says, all of a sudden there are fewer deaths from heart attacks, pneumonia, and cancer. Everything's being called COVID-19, definitely manipulating the statistics. I hate that. If that's what's actually happening, Berkeley, I really do hate that. Norma says, I listened to the Keto Camp podcast with guest Dr. Brian Peskin. Really good. Do you know Ben? Of course I know Ben. I don't know Brian Peskin. I've never heard that doctor before. But yeah, Ben's a good friend of mine. Berkeley said, I read recently higher cholesterol is an advantage for survival. Oh, that's been well known. I even talked about it, Berkeley, in my book, Cholesterol Clarity, that the traditional cultures that were free from heart disease at all, and the women especially in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, their average cholesterol levels were 300. Now keep that in mind. They're telling us a 300 total cholesterol. Oh my God, you're imminent of a heart attack. Go take a statin drug immediately. Get that down, down, down. And yet here is a traditional culture, a traditional tribe. No heart disease whatsoever. And they have 300 total cholesterol, which should beg the question, how in the world, if cholesterol is the enemy in your heart health, can you have a 300 total cholesterol and no heart disease at all? Maybe it means that cholesterol is not the enemy after all, right? Chris says, I donate platelets regularly, and there was a 2-week time when there was no cholesterol separated out in the bag, but I didn't think anything of it. Interesting. Norma wants to know if I'm still getting any income from Patreon. So if you go to jimmyrants.com, I do have a Patreon where you can donate. I don't push that because, quite frankly, right now, everybody's suffering. So thank you for asking about that, Norma, but I'm not pushing people to give me money. I'll survive. I'll figure out a way. Like I said, I can live off my chicken eggs for a little while if I have to, but we're all feeling the pinch of this. And it's tough. So hang tough in there, you guys. But thank you for asking about that, Norma. Maria says, it's killing me not to kiss, squeeze, hug my grandbaby, sending blessings constantly. Yeah, that psychologicalness of needing affection right now, guys, I feel it. I know exactly what that's like because it's killing me too. I think there's going to be such a... trying to think of what the word would be. There's going to be such pent up desire for affection that they want us to not even shake hands, which was the first thing I talked about when we got on here. They're saying we'll never shake hands again. Oh, you want to bet? We're going to do more than shake hands. I can see people hugging and touching and showing affection. And I'm not just talking about people in a love relationship. I'm talking about family, friends. I think we're all going to really appreciate all those little things that we took for granted. Tara says the problem is not that the comments have been made, it's that we believe them and allow them to change who we are. Releasing that and understanding that everyone or everything anyone says to us is about them, not us, has been instrumental in my own healing, sending so much love. I guess my question to you is, do you know how incredible... Oh, Tara, you're a sweetheart. You're a positive, bright light of positive energy with no limits. Thank you. I'm going to cry now, Tara. Tara's a good friend of mine from the paleo world, and we are definitely going to connect on the phone soon, Tara, because I miss talking to you. All right. Downtown Vapors, my cholesterol went down after 2.5 years on ketovore. Well, if it goes down naturally when you go keto, carnivore, that's okay. Because at first, the reason your cholesterol was higher was it was dealing with the inflammation. Well, if you've been on keto, carnivore for 2.5 years, ostensibly you've healed your body. Ostensibly you have brought inflammation levels down. And so your cholesterol doesn't have to be as high in the blood anymore. So that's something to think about, that it's not just this thing of lower cholesterol is a bad thing. If it comes down naturally, that's great. What I don't like is when it is brought down artificially and for no good reason. Like, what's the purpose of bringing down the cholesterol? There is no purpose other than thinking cholesterol is harming you somehow, but the cholesterol is serving a really good purpose in your body. Life in Pix 50. I feel like I have to answer this one pretty often, but I'm going to address it in case those of you that have not heard. She said, how is Christine? So I am currently separated from Christine, and we ask that you respect our privacy at this time. She is safe, living in a home in North Carolina, and I'm here in South Carolina, so we are both staying safe at this time, but we are currently separated. So thank you for asking that question. And so that's the Ask Me Anything, you guys. Thank you so much for being here today on Jimmy Rants. I love doing the show. I haven't taken a break in a little while, so I don't know if this weekend I might take a break either tomorrow or Sunday, because I don't like the go, 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 go. I do like to throw in a full day where I just kind of and breathe and relax. So if you don't see me show up at 2 p.m. on either tomorrow or Sunday, you'll know why. I just need to chill a little bit. But that's what's happening. So thanks so much for being here today on Jimmy Rants. As always, go to jimmyrants.com and you can get access to all the past episodes of this show. But if you want to join in on the fun, you got to go follow me over on Instagram. And we do go live at 11 a.m. Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday. But on Instagram, I'm at Livin' Low Carb Man, LIVINLOWCARBMAN. We also simulcast on both of my Facebook pages. So thank you guys for being here today on Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website, but we also throw all the past episodes up over on YouTube. Type in a keyword Jimmy Rants, you'll find the show, and be sure to subscribe to YouTube. I know everybody can't watch live, so if you miss any of the lives, you can watch all of them over on my YouTube channel. Subscribe and you'll never miss an episode. All right, well, that's it, you guys. Until next time, we'll see you then. And